Ever wondered how you could turn your deepest fears into fuel for your goals? Well, you're about to discover how. Imagine having a superpower, a power that can transform your performance, help you accomplish your goals, and even turn your fears into fuel. This superpower isn't something from a comic book or a blockbuster movie. It's something we all possess but often overlook. It's the power of focus. Think of focus as the rudder of a ship. Without it, the ship is at the mercy of the waves and the wind, tossed around without any control over its direction. But with a sturdy rudder, the ship can navigate through even the stormiest seas, always moving towards its intended destination. Similarly, our focus acts as the rudder of our life, guiding us through the waves of distractions and the winds of uncertainties, steering us towards our goals. Now you might be wondering, how do I harness this power? Well, it starts with understanding its importance. And there's no better reference for this than the book The One Thing by Gary Keller and Jay Papasan. In their book, they emphasize the importance of focus, stating that by concentrating on one thing at a time, we can achieve extraordinary results. They explain that when we scatter our attention across multiple tasks, we dilute our energy and our effectiveness. But when we hone our focus on a single task, we can channel all our energy into it, leading to superior performance and results. This concept, referred to as the one thing, is a guiding principle for success and productivity. But the power of focus isn't just about achieving results. It's also about transforming our fears. When we focus on our fears, we give them power over us. But when we shift our focus to our goals, we can use those fears as motivation, as fuel to propel us towards our dreams. Focus isn't just a power skill, it's a superpower. So how can we harness this superpower? Let's find out in our next scene. Now, let's get real about fear. What scares you the most? Is it the dark, spiders, or perhaps the fear of failing? Fear, in its essence, is an emotional response to perceived threats. It's as primal as it gets, a defense mechanism that has been hardwired into us since the dawn of humanity. Let's simplify it. Imagine you're a 7th grader sitting in a math class. The teacher writes a complex problem on the board and asks for a volunteer to solve it. Your heart races, palms sweat, and mind goes blank. That's fear. It's your body's way of saying, hey, this might be risky, let's get out of here. But is it really risky, or is it just unfamiliar? Dr. Susan Jeffers, renowned psychologist and author of Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway, explains that fear can be broken down into 3 levels. The first level includes those surface fears like spiders, darkness, or public speaking. The second level of fear pertains to the ego, the fear of rejection, being alone or failure. The third and deepest level of fear is the one that says, I can't handle it. The fear that we won't be able to cope with the consequences of our actions. But it's crucial to understand that fear is a part of life. It's a part of you. It's not something you can completely eliminate, but you can learn to manage it. You can learn to understand it, to question it, to dissect it, and most importantly, you can learn to use it. Fear is a signal, a warning bell. It's your body's way of telling you that you're stepping out of your comfort zone, that you're about to face a challenge. And challenges, my friends, are opportunities for growth. So, fear, as intimidating as it sounds, is just an emotion. And emotions can be controlled and directed. How? Let's move on to our next scene. So, how do we turn this fear into fuel? That's the question that's probably echoing in your mind. We've all been there, standing at the edge of our comfort zone, looking out into the vast unknown, our hearts pounding with fear. But let me tell you something. Fear isn't something to be shied away from. It's a challenge to be embraced, a motivator to be harnessed. Think about Michael Jordan, one of the greatest basketball players of all time. He didn't become great by coasting on talent alone. He faced his fear of failure head-on, using it as the driving force behind his relentless practice and determination. Every missed shot, every lost game, they were all stepping stones on his path to greatness. His fear of failure became his fuel for success. So how can we apply this to our lives? First, we need to identify our fears. Is it the fear of failure, of rejection, of the unknown? Once we've identified our fear, we need to understand it. Fear is natural. It's a survival instinct that's been hardwired into our brains since the dawn of time. But in our modern world, we're rarely faced with life or death situations. So we need to reframe our fear. Instead of seeing it as a threat, we need to see it as a challenge. Next, we need to use our fear as motivation. Think about it. If you're afraid of failing, then you're also driven to succeed. Use that drive to push yourself harder, to go further, to reach higher. Don't let your fear hold you back. Let it propel you forward. Finally, we need to remember that fear is temporary. It's a fleeting feeling that fades with time and exposure. The more we face our fears, the less power they have over us. So don't avoid your fears, confront them, embrace them, use them as fuel for your journey. Remember, fear is not your enemy, it's your fuel. Now, let's see how we can use this fuel to power our goals. How do we set goals that motivate us instead of intimidate us? Well, the answer lies in setting achievable, measurable goals. You see, goals are not just about reaching a destination. They're about the journey you take to get there. It's about growing, learning, and pushing yourself to become the best version of you. That's where the concept of SMART goals comes in. SMART is an acronym that stands for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. It's a framework that helps us to set effective goals. Let's break it down. First, specific. Your goals should be clear and well-defined. Vague or generalized goals are unhelpful because they don't provide sufficient direction. If you want to write a book, for example, be specific about what kind of book it is. Next, measurable. It's crucial to have measurable goals so that you can track your progress and stay motivated. A goal without a measurable outcome is like a sports competition without a scoreboard or a scorekeeper. Then, achievable. Your goal should be realistic and attainable to be successful. In other words, it should stretch your abilities but still remain possible. If you set an achievable goal, you'll be more likely to stay committed and motivated. Relevant is up next. Your goals should be relevant to your life and align with other relevant goals. We all need support and assistance in achieving our goals, but it's important to retain control over them. And lastly, time-bound. Your goals should have a deadline. This creates a sense of urgency and gives you a timeline to focus on and something to work towards. In essence, SMART goals set you up for success. They provide a clear path to follow and a way to measure your progress. They also give you a realistic expectation of what can be achieved and when. Remember, your goals are your compass, guiding you through life's journey. They give you a sense of direction and a way to focus your efforts. To harness your focus, your goals need to be clear and compelling. And now that you know how to set them, it's time to learn how to achieve them, ready to turn your dreams into reality. Now we're moving into the heart of the matter, achieving your goals. But how? Let's break it down into 3 practical steps: creating a plan, staying consistent, and tracking progress. First, let's talk about planning. Think of your goal as a destination and your plan as the roadmap. Without a roadmap, you're likely to get lost or sidetracked. When creating your plan, be specific about what you want to achieve and by when. Break it down into manageable tasks and set deadlines for each. Now let's cruise into our second step, consistency. It's the key to making progress over time. It's about showing up every day, even when you don't feel like it. Imagine if Elon Musk decided to take a break every time he faced a setback. SpaceX wouldn't be on its way to Mars, and Tesla wouldn't be revolutionizing the auto industry. Musk's unwavering focus and consistency are what propelled his ambitious goals into reality. Finally, we arrive at our third step, tracking progress. This is all about keeping an eye on your journey, checking off tasks as you complete them, and celebrating small victories along the way. It's also about adjusting your plan if things aren't going as expected, because remember, it's not about perfection, but progression. So there you have it. 3 practical steps to turn your dreams into reality. Create a plan, stay consistent, and track your progress. It may sound simple, but it requires focus, determination, and a dash of resilience. As we wrap up this scene, let's remember that achieving your goals isn't magic. It's the result of focus, hard work, and resilience. But before we wrap up, there's something very important I want you to remember. It's not just about reaching the finish line, it's about enjoying the journey. So buckle up and enjoy the ride towards achieving your dreams. What's the one thing that can make or break your journey to your goals? The answer, quite simply, is persistence. It's the unwavering commitment to keep moving forward despite the odds, the setbacks, the failures. It's the fuel that drives us to continue our journey, even when the road gets tough. Consider the story of Thomas Edison. Now, he's a name we associate with ingenuity and innovation. But did you know that before he successfully invented the light bulb, he failed? Not once, not twice, but over 1,000 times. Yet he didn't let these failures deter him. Instead, he used them as stepping stones, learning from each unsuccessful attempt until he finally achieved his goal. That's the power of persistence. It's not about never failing, it's about never giving up. Persistence is the force that keeps you going when everything else tells you to stop. It's the inner voice that says yes you can when everything else says no you can't. It's the spark of determination that ignites your spirit, driving you to press on, to push through, to persevere. But where does this persistence come from? Well, it's born from passion, from a burning desire to achieve your goals. It's fueled by the belief that you are capable of more, that you can turn your dreams into reality. And it's strengthened by resilience, by the ability to bounce back from setbacks and keep moving forward. Remember, the path to your goals is rarely a straight line. It's a winding road filled with obstacles and challenges. It's a journey that requires patience, determination, and yes, persistence. But the rewards of reaching your destination make every step, every stumble, every setback worth it. So, how do you harness this power of persistence? Start by setting clear, achievable goals. Break them down into smaller steps and celebrate each milestone along the way. Cultivate a positive mindset and surround yourself with people who believe in your dreams. And most importantly, never, ever give up. Persistence is the key that unlocks the door to achievement. So keep going, no matter what. Before we end, remember to subscribe to our channel and hit the notification button to get more inspiring content like this. Let's take a moment to revisit the key takeaways from our journey today. We started with the power of focus, the ability to concentrate our attention or energy on something. It's like the lens of a camera. The sharper the focus, the clearer the picture. Remember, where focus goes, energy flows. From there, we moved on to understanding fear. Fear isn't always a bad thing. It's a natural response designed to protect us. However, when we let it control us, it can hinder our progress. We must learn to use fear as a compass, pointing us towards growth. Next, we discussed how to turn that fear into fuel. It's about taking that nervous energy and channeling it towards your goals. It's not about eradicating fear, but using it as a tool to propel us forward. Then we delved into the art of setting goals. Goals give us direction, they give us something to strive for. But remember, a goal without a plan is just a wish. So, always back your goals with actionable steps. Following this, we explored how to achieve those goals. It's about persistence, consistency, and never giving up. It's about understanding that success isn't a straight line, but a winding path full of ups and downs. Finally, we touched on the power of persistence. There will be times when you want to throw in the towel, but it's in those moments that you must persist. Persistence is what turns failures into successes. To quote the great Nelson Mandela, I learned that courage was not the absence of fear, but the triumph over it. Harness your focus, turn your fears into fuel, and make your dreams come true. Share this video with someone who needs it, and let's inspire each other to greater heights.